Welcome to this video where I'll demonstrate conducting the Easter hymn, Were You There, from the Hymns for Home and Church. This is an African American spiritual, and it's one that actually gets us to try and imagine what it would have been like to be there ourselves, to witness Jesus Christ's death, his burial, his resurrection again as well. So a beautiful one to just think about, and the music is, be prepared for this to be stuck in your head. This has been going around in my head over and over again ever since I started listening to it when they released this. So it's in 2/2 beat, 2/2 time, so 1, 2 like that, with an upbeat. And the upbeat, although it's written with 2 notes, that's actually only half of the bar. So it will be going 1 beat up to the top will be your upbeat, and then you'll carry on like that. So your preparatory beat takes to the side, your upbeat, and then you start conducting as normal. There are a couple of places where there's an echo, so you just carry on conducting through that. The one thing to take note is then also right at the end there's an echo, so you can either just go out and hold it if you want to be kind of leading for those that are singing the melody, or you can beat out the 2 bars, because it goes over 2 bars effectively. So 1, 2, and then you go out and you end the verse. So for the first verse I'll demonstrate just holding it, and then for the other verses I'll demonstrate beating out the time. The other thing to take note of is that the third verse has a little interlude that's played between the singing of the third verse, where we talk about the burial of Jesus Christ, and then we have this little interlude which is like the 3 days he lay in the tomb, and then the last verse. It's amazing how the music is exactly the same, but it can come across in a completely different feel. So the last verse sounds much more triumphant, rather than trembling because of the anguish of witnessing the death and burial of Jesus Christ. Now we feel like shouting glory because he's resurrected. So completely different feel, and you're going to have much bolder movements and bring out the joy that we feel in the resurrection in the last verse. In terms of the timing, 52 to 63 beats a minute, so about 1 beat a second in terms of this, but each one of those has actually got 2 notes in it, so it's going to move quite nicely as you're playing it. And yeah, that's pretty much it in terms of the conducting. So just a really beautiful one for us to be singing and just experiencing different cultures and different ways to be singing and feeling the music. So I hope you really enjoy this one.
Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there? Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord? Were you there? Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when the sun refused to shine? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Were you there? Were you there when they laid him in the tomb? Oh, sometimes it causes me to tremble,